back to the story that we broke right here on CNBC TV 18. India's largest bank, State Bank of India, has slashed the bulk deposit rates. Ritu is back with us, and we're also joined by SBI's Chief Financial Officer, Anshula Kant. Ma'am, appreciate you joining us here on India Business Hour. It's a fairly aggressive cut on bulk deposit rates that SBI has announced. The first question and questions coming into us, what about retail deposits, ma'am?
Retail deposits, actually, we had reduced not at this with such huge cuts on 17th November itself. So, you know, these are bulk deposits which are typically 1 crore and above, and most of these deposits are from non-retail customers. These are usually corporate treasuries who put in money, and you know, they typically move from bank to bank depending on which bank is offering higher rates, and also usually they're at the shorter end of the, you know, in terms of the tenor. Given that you know, credit offtake is low, and this huge inflow of deposits that we have seen in the last 8 to 10 days, we decided to be more aggressive in our cuts for the bulk depositors.
Mrs. Kant, if you could again clarify, what is the amount of deposits you've received so far since the demonetization drive was announced?
See, I'll give you the net figure. The net figure is in excess of about 100,000 crores.
Okay.
That is net of the withdrawals.
Okay. You know, a deposit rate cut usually, you know, precedes a lending rate cut. What kind of reductions can we expect there? We understand this is on bulk deposits of over 1 crore and over 10 crores. Will this follow, will a lending rate cut follow soon from SBI?
You know, the MCLR formula is actually built like that once you cut deposit rates, the MCLR does go down.
Right.
And as I just mentioned, 17th November, we did cut the retail deposit rates as well. So surely when we announce our next MCLR, there will be a reduction.
How much room for reduction, ma'am, if actually you could clarify, how much room is there to bring down lending rate by? Because, you know, even the PMO has been focusing on how this whole demonetization exercise and the deposits that have been flowing into the bank chest should be utilized to, you know, extend loans to the rural sector, the rural economy, bring down lending rates. So what should we expect from State Bank of India?
I think, you know, every month, actually for the last few months also, if you see our MCLR, we have been reducing our MCLR gradually every month. And I think going forward, the reduction will be you know, a bit steeper than it has been in the past. You know, we are actually very, very keen to explore all lending opportunities. We've been doing that. The problem is that the lending opportunities have not been that significant this year in the economy. So, you know, you've seen for the system as a whole, 9 to 10% is the credit growth that has happened so far. And, you know, deposits, even without this big influx of deposits that we've seen, which has come mostly in the current account of saving banks since 8th November, our deposits had been growing at about 13% even prior to that. So, you know,
Ms. Kant,
it is
you know, you said...
Yeah.
Let me just put in a question. You said that you expect a steeper cut. Can you give us some sense, ma'am, of what the average cut has been? And when you say steeper, then perhaps we'd have to extrapolate what we can expect, because the government seems to believe that radical rate cuts are on the anvil.
You know, actually, if you look at the structure of our deposits, about 42, 43% is current account and saving bank. There has been no change in these rates. And we have about 8% or so which we have cut today, bulk deposits. That. So you can sort of extrapolate, you know, it cannot happen hugely significant cut in 1 month. You cannot do, because you need to first, you know, precede that with a very significant deposit rate cut. So bulk deposits form about 8% of our domestic deposits. So, you know, they will go in by that much proportion, I suppose. So last time I think the last month we cut was from 9.05 to 8.90%, the base rate. So it was 15 basis point cuts we did last month. MCLR cut, sorry, not the base rate.
Ma'am, just wanted to ask you a follow-up on that. You mentioned that bulk deposits right now account for almost 8% of your total deposit base. Given the magnitude of the cuts, the cuts are ranging between, I guess, as much as 210 basis points in certain tenures. What will the immediate impact of this move be on your margins?
These deposits will mature on the maturity date. So existing deposits don't get repriced downwards. It's only at the maturity date that customers may then decide whether they want to roll it over within our bank or take it away to another bank, which is offering higher rates. So immediately, of course, there'll be no impact. But yes, when you cut your deposit rate, that sort of gives you an upside on the interest expenses or in your, upside on your margins. But it happens with a time lag.
No, so how much would your cost of funds have gone down by with this massive bulk deposit rate cuts that you've undertaken?
No, right now, nothing. It's only when these higher interest rate deposits mature and fresh deposits come in at a lower rate.
Right.
That's the time when you see an upside in your cost. So, whatever cost of deposits we've been seeing a decline in over the last few months by 1 or 2 basis points every month, those are the outcome of, the deposit rate cuts we may have done 6 months ago or 9 months ago or 1 year ago.
Ma'am, just finally a quick question. You mentioned that lending rate cuts will be steeper now going forward because you have more elbow room following these big deposit rate cuts. If you could give us some sense, I know you can't share numbers, but will the cuts on the lending side somewhat match the cuts on the bulk deposit side?
No, that we'll meet when our ALCO meets, we will decide. It's hard for me to give you a number like this off the cuff because, like I said, they don't impact our interest expenses right now.
Ma'am, when is your ALCO meet? I think we'll keep a tab for sure.
We meet every month. You can keep a track. I don't offhand remember the date yet.
All right. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for joining us first in CNBC. So, Surabhi, clearly the lenders made it very, very obvious lending rate cuts will follow. The quantum of lending rate cuts, of course, still unclear, but of course can't be as high as as the same quantum as the deposit rate cuts. But surely there will be more lending rate cuts that will follow.
Well, Ritu, if we get anything which is bigger than the incremental 15 basis points that we've just gotten so used to on the lending side, I think a lot of the borrowers would be very, very happy.